Hello everyone and welcome to another banner review, and today we are going to be looking at CG Cid's banner. And let me tell you, this one is kind of a doozy. I have to admit that he is potentially an incredibly powerful character with a hell of a lot of damage in his kit. I have to say that he's very interesting, but is he interesting enough for you to spend some resources on? Is he finally the Dragoon we've been waiting for? Well, there's a whole bunch of ifs, buts, candy, and nuts, but needless to say, well, if you look at the results of my step-up banner, which I may not post first, I may post this video just to tease all of you, but needless to say, I think given a look into the kit and his percentages, so far I gotta say, I'm thinking he might be considerably stronger than CG Ignacio last month, and this guy doesn't have dual cast. Anyway, so let's take a look at this banner really quickly. First of all, we have 2 4-stars and a 3-star. So starting with our 3-star, who is, let me just double check, Pharma. Pharma has a great TMR if you are ever wanting to use a Dragoon in the future, and the nice thing here about Pharma is that her TMR is basically Magnolia's TMR, who is a limited time unit. So getting this in the summon pool is just good news. It's just good news for us. Anyway, let's talk a little bit more about it. It is a 30 attack accessory with a 50% extra to jump damage. So if you already have Magnolias, this TMR isn't anything super amazing, but it's also not bad either. Basically, if Dragoons are ever going to be a thing, you'll probably want to get your hand on at least a couple of these, because while the 30 attack is nothing special, 50% jump damage is. And that's all I need to say about that. Next up is New Ruggles, or Na Ruggles, as I'm going to call him, because he's basically an alternate universe version of him. Anyway, his real name is Nagulfa, and he is a 4 to 6-star unit. TMR, a helmet with 34 attack, 37 defense, and plus 100% confuse resistance. In general, this is just great for attackers who don't have confusion protection on them. Basically, 100% confusion is something you want to keep off an attacker, and this helmet just screams, I'm going to punch you in the face a hell of a lot. So, gotta say, this is just generally nice. 34 attack on a helmet, too, is really decent. If you consider that Preesh, who is a 5-star base, is 45 attack and doesn't have any defense to speak of. So 37 defense on this too is just a solid TMR for anybody who wants it. And next up is Melette. And I gotta say, I think Melette's actually really cute. A lot of people have been kind of harsh on her, saying she's a clown. She's not a clown. She's an artist. She's a painter. Her animations are actually really good. Now, this girl has a materia that I think will be valuable long term. At first glance, it doesn't seem like it'll be useful, but keep in mind, we also have to think about the units in the future, not just the units that are currently right now. So, first of all, Malette's TMR is a 30% magic and 10% reduction to MP cost. MP cost being reduced is great since a lot of magic damage dealers are coming out with pretty high MP costs. So any MP you can save is good for a long-term fight where you're not just trying to burst the enemy down. So, gotta say, I actually think this is pretty damn strong. Now, next up is our main leading man, CG Cid. And so I'm basically just going to put this up. We're not advertising for the Tactics banner, but anyway. CG Cid. Now, there's a lot to talk about this guy, so let's break it down very basically for a shorter video, because some people have been saying, hey, I want shorter videos, so here's your shorter video. First of all, I'm not convinced, having looked at his kit, that his spear is a necessity. It is definitely really good for him. There's no question about that. But the real question is there a better form of equipment out there? And I actually think there is. And it is in the form of Aranea. So a big criticism last month of CG Ignacio was, you need a super TMR. You need a super TMR. And honestly, I don't think it is the best here for him. I actually think Arenea's regular TMR might be a little bit better. For one thing, it's 140 attack. Skill-wise, it increases damage from jump an extra 100%, and the damage variance is slightly higher on that one of 1.6 times as opposed to his Super TMR, which is only a max of 1.5. Now that's not to say that his Super TMR is bad for him, it's 35 extra attack, but when you think about that, and oh sorry, it also has the wind element on it. The wind element is kind of important here too. While I would consider the wind element a big selling feature, I'm not entirely convinced that it is the strongest option. If you could put wind on CG Cid, you really wouldn't need this Super TMR, because the extra 100% jump damage that you can get off Arenea's weapon that is non-elemental might actually be a supremely solid option in a lot of fights. So for now, I would say that his Super TMR is definitely probably good, and it's better than I'm giving credit for, but there are options to him. Now, his TMR is just insane for him, and probably no one else in the history of this game, unless there are more true dual-hand Dragoons, but could happen. 50% extra attack when true dual-handing, and 75% extra jump damage, and a 50% limit burst fill rate. Just incredibly strong, great for filling his limit burst, because his limit burst is a pretty powerful ability. But in all honesty, not sure, I haven't quite figured out how this would work, but here's where I think this is super needed for him. 3 of his TMRs seems almost perfect, because he has about 150% true dual hand in his kit, and that jump damage stacks considerably fast. So with 3 of his, you can get 300% true dual hand, get a lot of extra jump damage as well, big limit burst fill rate, and yeah, that's probably enough. I would say that's probably considerably stronger than fiddling with a whole bunch of other stuff in his kit, but not really sure yet until I try him out a whole bunch. Now, stat-wise, here's the important thing. He actually has a decent base attack stat, 203, which is basically CG Hayu. Also, he can get an extra 65 points in attack, so really he's an attacker only. His spirit is decent, and his defense is decent. His HP is actually really high, especially with all of his passives. Ding! And he has a good amount of MP, so I would say that his stats are all around really good. Now in his kit, his limit burst is definitely powerful, maxed out 1400% AoE one hit. Physical wind attack that ignores 50% defense. Pretty damn strong there, that's 2800%, and he has a limit burst modifier of 1.2 times in his kit, so his limit burst is even stronger than it appears. Gotta say, it's really strong. It's nice that it's an element, meaning that it can be elementally chained into pretty nicely. How strong it is, I'm just not sure. And it doesn't appear to be jump damage. Again, haven't tested it yet. Will be in the full review, but if it's not jump damage, then its limit burst is definitely not the strongest option. And in the end, here's the big thing. He has tons of passives in his kit. He has an amazing amount of Beast Killer. I mean, honestly, if Duke has way too much Dragoon Killer, this guy has way too much Beast Killer. And so all of his time jumps and his big abilities can basically need his cooldown to become stronger or better. And his cooldown does improve things enough that it actually makes it worthwhile. Here's the good thing and the bad thing. First of all, it's on a 3-turn cooldown, available turn 1, so it takes a fair number of turns to come back in. That's definitely a problem. Also, well, good thing about it. AoE, 1-turn physical dodge. That's just great. That's fantastic. It protects the party. It gives some support for the party, so I gotta say, I really like that. He has lots of extra jump damage in his kit, which is super nice because most of his attacks are his jump. But here's the thing. The other thing in his kit pretty much all of his attacks are jump attacks, and most of them are one-turn timed jump attacks, which is good, meaning that you can use them one turn and then the next turn. You don't need it to get a lot out of his kit. With all the jump damage modifiers you can get on this guy, as well as killers and, you know, possibly an element on it or two, he'll be dealing plenty of damage without his cooldown. His cooldown seems to be most important for his big time jump, the 15 turn one, which basically is an 1850% one-hit physical attack time jump, which is the strongest time jump in the game. And let me tell you, if all of the modifiers are correct in my mind and all the extra jump damage and everything, this attack is going to hit for an insane amount of damage. Absolutely insane. Especially with weapon variants, this thing and an element, this is the one to be used. In his 7-star kit, he does get a couple of jumps that do not need modifiers, that both heal himself and do a fair high percentage, as well as, you know, give him some extra beast killer, which is nice. And in his 7-star kit, I mean, his 70 MP that doesn't get awakened basically is 850%. So every 2 turns, that's a lot. So here's the thing. Is this banner worth going on? I would say that CG Cid is incredibly strong. By far the strongest Dragoon in the game. His kit has so many passives, more than I ever thought they would give him. He also has some Dispel in his kit, so that's particularly useful. But he can heal himself and give dodge to the party, and we've seen that be incredibly useful in a lot of trials. So honestly, I would say that Cid is a good investment, a great investment, even without his super TMR, which is a big no-no for a lot of people with Ignacio last month. So I would say he's incredibly strong. But hey, if you don't take my word for it, wait for the unit review, which will be coming very shortly. And I think you guys may be considerably impressed by it. So till next time, I will see you later.